Hello everyone. If it's your first time to the channel, welcome, and if it's not, welcome back. In today's video, we're going to continue playtesting in the GD02 meta. This time we're playing blue-white Epyon. To begin with the deck, we have 4 Zawarts, 4 Lifriths, and 2 Rick Diaz. These are our early blockers that kind of help us get to the late game. Then we're running a 1 of Draw Gundam and 3 of the normal Grandpa Gundam. I'm running this one because there are times like if you're playing in the mirror, or you're playing against like green white or white red, where you both just kind of play blockers early, and so being able to play a Zawar into an Ilfrith or a Rick Diaz into a Gundam and then pair it with any of the pilots, even if it's not an Amuro, to get that additional card draw is really nice. Now you have a 5 body. If it is Amuro, you drew a card and then you can rest one of their blockers and swing into their blocker, so it's really strong. And then the normal Gundam is just good, right? It has repair 2. It bumps everything else by +1 attack, so it lets you make some really favorable trades. So that's why I'm running both of those. I'm trying out a 1 of Launcher. I wasn't running this originally. I was running 2 of the Draw Gundam. But as I'm playing more aggro, I feel like we need to have a little bit of extra defense, because blue-green can go just really wide, and then blue-purple can do really well against us as well. And so I want to try it out and see. And then there's also another card that I'm trying out just to kind of see how it does. So I'm running 2 of Tallgeese. This links with Zex as well. And so you can get the effect of Zex to draw if you happen to crash it into something, while at the same time resting like a Zawart, right? So that you can actually like go after who you want to kill. Then you're running 3 of the Ale Strike. I mean, this Ale is just an amazing blocker. The bounce ability is nice. Kira's an amazing pilot, and so just 3 of Ale. I'm running 2 Justice Gundam because with this deck, a lot of the times you're kind of playing defense at the beginning, and then you want to kind of flip the game back around, and Justice just is really good at helping you do that because you establish 2 bodies in a turn. So if you can make it to 7, like playing a Justice Gundam and then any of the blockers for 7 feels really good, right? Because you played 3 bodies and you have a 5/5 that your opponent kind of has to deal with. Then I'm running 3 Epyon. Epyon is just really, I hate and I love him at the same time, right? You have to see him. You don't have to see him with Zex because he is at least a 6/6. So if the game is going really slow, then you have time to establish him by itself. But then he just feels like an okay card. Linking him with Zex is really good, obviously, because then you can potentially get 2 clears. So that's why I love and I hate Epyon at the moment. But we're playtesting, right? We're trying to figure out what's good into the meta, what's not. For Amuro, obviously, Amuro is honestly probably the best pilot in the game at the moment. He's for sure top 3, but he has a strong case to be number 1. Just resting anything 5 HP or less is really, really good. Linking him with either one of these at the right time feels amazing as well. Even if not, like putting him on an Ale, bouncing and resting something, it's just, I mean, can feel good, especially if you already have blockers in play, right? So then we're running 3 Kira. I was originally on a 4/4 and then 2 Kira split, but same thing. I feel like that's a little greedy, and with their aggro being so good currently, I bumped it back up to 3 Kira, and because I also added the Launcher Strike, like it just gives me an additional link early game to really help out. And even if not, just being able to put Kira on any of the blockers and continue to kill a bunch of weenies feels really nice. 3 Zex just because you have to see them. Then I'm running, for my bases, I'm running 2 side 7s. I was originally trying Dominion, but it only heals a blue character or a blue unit, and so like it was just very situational. Like your blue units already have a decent amount of repair, and so they kind of don't need that. Doing it on an Epyon can feel nice, but it's also my biggest the biggest thing that I didn't like about it, one, obviously, like I can't heal any of my blockers, which would be amazing if it could, but it's also a level 4, and so there are times where like you just need to play a base early to survive against aggro. If they already cracked your EX base, like if you went first, then being able to establish a blocker and then the side 7 on 3 is really, really strong. And even though it doesn't have 5 HP, that's still just good enough. Sometimes you really just need a base to tank 2 hits against aggros, and a lot of the times a 4 can. Also, its heal is not once per turn, and you can heal your blockers. So swinging your ale into like a rested Gundam, right, you take 3 damage, and then you can heal it back up with the side 7. So now if they only have a Lifrith, like the Lifrith can't trade into your ale, and just little interactions like that, right? Or like one of the 2/2s can't interact into it. It makes it harder. It makes all of your blockers harder to ping down. Same thing with an Ilfrith, right? If I can swing into like a 2/2 and then heal it 1 more, now they need triple ping, and double ping is already pretty hard to have at times, but triple ping would be pretty crazy. And if they trade into it with the second body, like it did what it needed to do. So that's why I'm running a 2 of side 7, 3 overflowing affections. This was previously at 4, but I do want to try out a 1 of siege ploy at the moment. You already draw a decent amount in this deck, right? Because Zex allows you to draw, like pairing into this Gundam gives you like additional draw. I am running 2 of Show Resolve as well, like Epyon's Zex effect. And so I'm just trying it out at 3. A lot of the times you don't really want to play this early anyway. You kind of just want to see it late game to help you like filter into what you want, because early you want to play like as many blockers as you can. But we kind of need a little something else against aggro, is what I'm starting to figure out as well. And so I'm playing cards that are versatile enough to where they can be good enough against like the tall decks and still be good enough against the aggro decks. And so that's why the 1 of Launcher Strike I'm trying out, and then I'm also trying out a 1 of Siege Ploy. There are times where you have Epyon established and your opponent leaves everything standing, and so you don't have anything to swing into. But if you can Siege Ploy, which what Siege Ploy does is it's an Amuro on a command with the burst that it does the same thing. And so it's not bad in your hand. At times it can get cloggy, but once you're set up, it's really, really good. And the burst is obviously really, really good as well. It's a burst that can win games, realistically, right? Like in against red white, being able to rest anything that they've linked, unless it's like linked with full frontal, but anything linked with the like any Kshatriyas linked with Maritas or Hamans, this can rest. And so if they swing with like their weenies first and you trigger this out of life, resting a big Kshatriya feels amazing. This can rest linked Ales, obviously unless it's like with duo or any pilot with like 2 HP, but just like the actual links itself. So I'm trying it as a 1 of. Also against again, if it bursts against aggro, that's really, really nice. Just stopping 1 attack by itself, it can sometimes help you survive. The other card that I'm considering instead of Siege Ploy is Intercept Orders. That lets you rest 2 characters, but they do have to be 3 or less. So it's like a specifically for aggro card, but it could also potentially be good in the mirrors and against green white, like if they have multiple multiple Rick Diaz's or Zawarts on the board, right? Or if they've played a wing and they have a bunch of blockers, like this could potentially rest their pinged blockers. So there is also an argument to be made for Intercept Orders, and that's why I'm playtesting to see kind of which one would feel better. But I do think this a 1 of would be really, really good, especially if you pair it with like an Epyon and a Zex that you already have established. If they leave their entire board standing and then you rest something and just go into it with the Epyon, that feels really, really good, because they either have to block it, at which point they give you a card, or they let it die, at which point you also still drew a card while getting rid of a big threat. So then I'm running a 2 of intercept or unforeseen incident. It's just really good, right? Just it can stop an attack, it can make favorable trades it can make trades in your favor, and then being able to use it to do multiple attacks with Epyon is really good, because Epyon's biggest weakness is that he is 7 HP, and I know 7 HP is a lot, but against red white it trades into anything they have, because anything paired there has 7 HP or more, and so the unforeseen is really good there. Same thing in the mirror match, because he's an 8, and so bringing it down, like if an Epyon, your opponent's Epyon swings into your Epyon and you unforeseen, then yours survives and they don't get the resend effect in that moment, which is really good. The 2 of show of resolve just for extra draw, and then 3 striker packs. So that's the deck profile. Now let's get into some gameplay. Alright, and for our first game, our opponent decides to go second, which is really good in this meta. I'm going to keep this hand because I have a Zor into a Rick Diaz. I don't love seeing this show this early, but if it is a slower deck, then we will be able to use it. We won't be able to... Hopefully this is an aggro. Drawing 2 shows feels really bad against aggro. But at least we do have 3 blockers at least, which is nice, and we do have an Amuro. So if we can draw into a Gundam for 4, this hand becomes really strong. We draw into another Amuro, which same thing, right? It could be nice. At the moment, we don't love to see a second Amuro. We would have loved to see, like I said, a Gundam or just another unit. But we are playing against blockers, and so we probably will have enough time to draw into some better things. A Justice is pretty good to see if it is going to be a slower matchup. If we don't see a Gundam, then I'm just going to use a show. I could honestly even use a show and Amuro, but now that he made the 4-2, it doesn't seem as good. Because then whatever... Or I could put the... Yeah, it doesn't... Whichever one doesn't feel as good to play. I do get an Overflowing Affection, which is really nice. So I am going to use a show first. And then I'm going to use Overflowing Affection. I always hate throwing a base, but kind of need to, I think, here. I want to keep it overflowing for later. Another show is going to be good in the long run. Don't really want to get rid of any Amuro, so I'm just going to get rid of the Nail or Gamma, and then I'm not going to attack. It won't do anything, right? Because if he blocks here, then we just kind of take a little bit of damage. If he blocks here, we'll trade. So kind of just want to keep my board, because then if I can protect my bigger guys later, that'll be better. He does play Nail, doesn't link the AO. Would really love to see a Gundam here, but I can ale Amuro, but it just doesn't feel amazing. But I do get to rest this, attack into this, but I can't really trade into it unless I trade the Amuro itself, which, well, actually I can't anyway because it would be with the ale. But at least getting rid of the token is pretty good here. I don't want to give 2 cards into the ale, and so I kind of just have to pass here. Feels like a little bit of a wasteful Amuro, but it should be okay. I make a 6/5 blocker. I got rid of a blocker. And then on this next turn, I'm probably going to play the Overflowing Affection first. Just to see what I draw into. My opponent decides not to attack. I have another blocker, but I could also just play another show. Another show, overflowing, and then a blocker. I think the game's going slow enough to where that's fine. I think so. I think that should be fine. We can sculpt our hand for later. We're always going to play the Overflowing Affection, right? Because we're still looking for Zex. I think it's just the Zawart here. And then I'm going to play the Ilfrith because I don't really want to give the ale value. But I am safe enough to attack here. I guess I should have attacked first, and that way it makes him second guess what to block with. Uses a naval bombardment. Okay. That is us getting punished here, for sure. But we're okay with that. Don't love it, honestly. But we do have a massive hand advantage against our opponents. We still don't know what his second color is, though. And he knows what ours is. Okay, so he is also playing blue-white. And this is a really big turn for him. It would have been nice if we had an overflowing or an unforeseen incident there. That would have put us really ahead, and then we could have just played another Overflowing Affection, but that's okay. At the moment, we know our play is just Justice, and then another Ilfrith. He already paired this Kira, so we could play a little greedy and do the Striker pack. If I had a second pilot, I could do Ale Amuro, put the second pilot on the Zawart, and then I could get rid of this and either one of these. God, is it greedy to try to find a pilot here? It kind of is, but it kind of is greedy. But if we get it, then, which we did, I think we just do it. If he has an unforeseen, then we get punished really badly here. If he has an unforeseen, we get punished pretty badly here. Siege ploy is not as bad. That's also why we went after the ale though and not the Gundam, because the ale can -2 our ale, and so it would survive with 1 HP. Whereas here at the moment, if he wants to kill my ale, he has to do it with his Gundam. And little by little we're winning the resource war. Plays an Archangel, an Ilfrith, an Ilfrith. So we can play a base first. So what we're gonna do is, oh, he conceded. Okay, well, yeah, I think he could see the writing on the wall. Right? We were so far ahead in resources, and while he played 2 blockers, like that's not really a lot, right? Because on my turn, I was gonna swing into the Gundam. If he blocked with the Nilfrith, then I'd side 7, heal him up 1. Either way, I'm gonna play the side 7, but I didn't want to show it to him first. And then I could still justice, get a blocker, and then play out a Ilfrith of my own to counter his blockers. And then little by little, like I still have my Epyon, so if I draw into a second Zex, then that's also live. If not, I have plenty of blockers. I just had a lot of plays, and so I think my opponent could see that I mean I think I won the war in the long run. So that is a good game to my opponent. Alright, and in this game we get to choose. I am going to try to play second. Being able to get to the Epyon on curve quicker feels pretty nice. This feels like a very greedy hand to mull. So I'm gonna mull. I'm gonna keep it. Because I have blocker into unforeseen. So if I'm playing against aggro, then I'm pretty good. I also have an Amuro, which if I draw into a Gundam will be really good. And then I have the Epyon for the late game. I don't really want to draw into another Epyon this early though. And that is a very good draw. I could play out the Zawart, but I don't want to give up the resource that early. I'm trying to make it to the Epyon as quick as I can. He is playing Hezak and side 7. So we still don't know. This could be blue purple, or it could be blue white Psycho Gundam. I'm just gonna play out the Rick Diaz and pass. If he attacks with the Hezak, I'm just gonna let it through. Plays a second Hezak and pass his turn. And so I'm just gonna play the Ilfrith and pass. Since he's playing blue, he could have Gundam Amuro here. Which if he does, he should rest the Ilfrith. Okay, so we do know he's playing blue-white. He plays a 2/4 striker pack. And passes. A third Amuro. I'm just going to play out the 2 Zawarts and pass. Alright, he plays out an ale. And then he swings for 2. I'm just going to block this with the Ilfrith. Go ahead and just take the trades. Deciding whether or not to play an action, so we know he potentially has an unforeseen incident. Could also still be a naval bombardment. Alright, we need a unit. I mean, that is a unit. But just drawing striker pack feels really bad when they have an AO. So, I mean, we definitely have to make the 4-2. Because if he gets rid of it, he gets rid of it. There's not much we can do about it either way. And I'd rather, if he doesn't have a way, for it to be able to trade into the AO if we needed to. Yeah, we're just going to pass. I could use the Amro, but I don't have a way to get rid of this ale yet. And so I don't really want to waste the Amro yet. Because if I could rest here and then swing into it with the Ilfrith that's already damaged, but if he blocks and I can trade the wards into them, but it just feels wasteful. He does have the draw Gundam, which is really good for him here. They're drawing a card and then resting my board. Yep, because I don't have anything else with 4. So that's a good one to go after. Okay, if he has the Kira, then that's a mistake. Yeah, him having the Kira makes that a mistake. He should have rested something else. And then just bounced the token anyway. And then he would have actually had something to swing into. I'm just going to give him the damage Ilfrith. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I could have just let that go and then blocked this with the damage Ilfrith as well. That's probably the better play. But that's fine. We'll just let this one go. We could have blocked and unforeseen there as well, so at least it takes the damage, and then we have 3 attacks into it. That might have been the play. Well, we would have only been able to block with the Rick Diaz, and now this makes things interesting. Because we have this, which rests here. And this, I would rather keep the Rick Diaz. And so this stays here. And that'll rest there. Now the Zawart goes into the ale. In case he has an unforeseen, then I can still swing the Zawart into it. I'm going to swing my Zawart into his ale. He unforeseens that one, so it takes 1 damage and mine dies. That sucks a little bit, but that's okay because I'm gonna just trade into the board. I'm gonna use my own unforeseen. I don't know if I should attack with the Ricky Diaz, because this is going to heal up to 5 anyway. But let's just, we're playtesting, right? Let's just force him to have a link to get rid of the Gundam. And next turn we can play out the just hard play out the Epyon. We are really behind on resources though. This Gundam really put in work. And he does have the 4. Is he gonna trade? Decides not to trade. Oh, that's very tempting. But I think we're just gonna play out the Epyon, and I'm actually gonna pass. The reason I'm gonna pass is because if he played this was a little greedy. So this makes me believe he has the other Psycho Gundam, and if he has that with 4 as well, or it could have been he didn't want it to get Amro'd, right, and then just easily traded into. But like I said, this makes me believe that he had the other Psycho, and if he did, that can clear my Gundam, get its draw effect, and heal. And I don't love that. So I'd rather just leave it standing, and I do have another Amro, so I can use it at a better time. And that better time is now, because I can Amro to rest the Ilfrith and then kill it here. And then I can still play another Epyon. So I think that's the play. And little by little, we're kind of getting back into this game. Actually, I'm going to attack with this one first. I do wish I had a side 7 here, but that's okay. Either way, even without the side 7, like, he could still trade his Gundam into it. So he has the unforeseen. I can't do anything about that, so it only takes 3 damage here. So now he can trade the Ilfrith into it, which is pretty good for him. But we do have another Epyon now. And we have a show for next turn. His best play, I think, would be just having the Psycho Gundam with the 4, and then being able to clear here, and then get a draw. We do get another Kira. I was gonna say he probably is gonna swing with the doesn't. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Sorry, trading into the Epyon, getting rid of it now. Plays another Ilfrith and another side 7. Okay, so yeah, we're starting to little by little grind this game out. And we draw into a freedom, or into a I keep saying freedom into the justice, sorry, into the justice. So we can play out a justice, play out a Ilfrith, and we're so far ahead that I'm gonna just play out a Kira here. I'm just gonna swing the Gundam, right? The Gundam just heals itself. I didn't have to play this, but now this makes it to where he survives a Psycho Gundam, and just making him beefier. If he decides to block with either of these, like I take less damage if it's the Zawart. And then I could establish the 2 blockers, but I'm just going to play out the Justice now. And then repair 2 on the Gundam. So we were able to navigate this game pretty well. My opponent had a really good start with the Gundam and then the Ale. But we were able to make some favorable trades. The shows definitely helped as well. To replenish hand. I'm going to use Overflowing first just to see what we find. We find a Zax, which that's just okay. I'm actually going to get rid of the Striker Pack and just play another one just in case we draw into something. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, we do. So that's definitely, I think, all she wrote. I do want to leave a blocker up though, so I'm not going to swing there first. I'll just swing with the Gundam. Yeah, he takes the trades, but we did see all 3 Epyon in a slower matchup. So that definitely helps, right? And then we saw a Justice, which is also really, really good. But that is also why we're running them in the deck, right? It's for those grindier matchups, like your green whites, like your blue whites, like your red whites. And if you ever get a chance to make it to these against aggro, then they kind of just flip the game on its own. And now even if he blocks with the Ilfrith, we just get a draw. He shouldn't have blocked with the Ilfrith. But I think that makes a big difference. Alright, and my opponent just concedes. That's a GG to my opponent. Like I said, it started off looking really rough, but we were able to turn it around in the middle and then just kind of clinch it from there. My opponent played really, really well. I just don't think he saw like he didn't see the Gundam, the Psycho Gundams, which on curve would have been really good for him. And then after that, like our high end just kind of overwhelms, I think, his high end in the long run. So yeah, that is a GG to my opponent. All right, and for our final thoughts of the deck, we didn't get a chance to play against aggro today, but I am going to keep playtesting the deck itself and see how it feels against aggro, right? Neither one of in both games that I played, I don't think at any point in time would I have felt negatively if I would have drawn Siege Ploy or Launcher Strike Gundam. So while we didn't get to see them actually in action, I don't think I would have regretted either one either time, because I did have the Kira link for here, and then I had enough blockers so to make the Siege Ploy make a difference. And it could have just been like an Amuro as well. There was one game I drew like 3 Amuros, so if one of them has been a Siege Ploy, it would have essentially been the same thing. Yeah, the deck performed really, really well. I am going to keep, like I said, I'm going to keep playtesting it, and then I'll let you guys know kind of how it feels against some of those other decks. But if you are enjoying my content, please like, comment, subscribe. I'm going to continue to keep playtesting and posting videos. If you have any color combinations that you want to see, please type them down in the comments below. And yeah, that's all for me. I hope that you all have an amazing day.